Hi everyone. Now's about the time we're going to get into one of our last units, which is one of my favorite, which talks about development. So, we're going to look at essentially how children develop and how we develop throughout our lifetime from birth to the unfortunate death. So, today is just a brief intro overview. If you do need to pause, please feel free to do so. We're going to be looking at different theories on development, and then in your packets, you'll be creating a timeline with important developmental events for you. You guys are at a really exciting time in your lives of your young adulthood when you are embarking on college. So, this might be a good time for you to think about all of the positive changes that will be coming up next week or next year when you guys go to college, if that is something that you are looking forward to. Let's go ahead and start with our notes. As always, if you need to pause, please feel free to do so. When we talk overall about development, we are talking about the entire span of our lifetime, birth to death. We develop in lots of different ways. We develop our motor skills, our movements. We develop in the way that we think, our cognitive thoughts, our morals and our ideas, our concepts of right and wrong will develop. And we'll also develop social relationships with each other and with others. So I do think it's important that basically through every stage of development, there are different changes that we are going through in these areas. I never really thought about it until I had a young child and my daughter was, going to the doctor and they were asking about how well does she perform certain tasks when she's moving? How well can she reason through things? So it's a good reminder that development does happen in stages. There are different theories on development. So the first theories are called discontinuous developmental theories. So these are age-specific periods of time. This concept that we leave one stage and we move on to the next. Some of the psychologists that you guys will be reading about and hearing about in this unit will say that our lives are chunked into certain periods, and once we reach a certain age or a certain milestone, we leave a stage and go to the next. And this is opposite continuous development. Oh, I went too far. Opposite continuous development, where children can exhibit a combination of a lot of different stages together as they develop. So some psychologists will say, yeah, our lives are not chunked. We are kind of constantly going through a combination of stages and developing. When it comes to development, we do go back to this concept of nature versus nurture. Do we develop in the way we develop because of DNA, or do we develop because of our life experiences and how we're raised? Comes back to the concept of heritability. So the extent to which there's a variation of a trait or a behavior, and we attribute it to our genetics. So if you develop in a certain way and you have a certain trait, is it because of your genetic composition, your DNA makeup, or is it because of something you've experienced? Also, when we talk about development, we're going to question the concepts of stability versus change. This will center on whether the traits an infant, a young child, typically under the age of 6 months, whether the traits an infant displays are enduring, they'll last forever, or whether they change as the growing person interacts with others and his or her culture. So when I think about my young children, are they really already who they will be by the time they are 6 months old? Or will they change given their interaction with people in different cultures and their own culture, right? So these are questions and concepts that we'll be examining over the course of this unit and things to consider as we move on and look at people like Piaget and Erikson who had different ideas of how we develop. That was a pretty quick set of notes for you, so please get to work in your packet. And if you have any questions, always reach out.